Today we had some adventures and they ended a little bit later than usual, so we're getting a late start, but we are broadcasting nevertheless. I thought, I didn't see any stories that really like knock my socks off and really feel like the essence of what today is about. However, I'm seeing a kind of a shape, and I'm thinking about this Susan Kokinda. She really puts out a great uh, analysis of of the things that are going on, about how it's a war. So, okay, I'm just trying to put this together. I'm trying to put this into a kind of a context. We saw Nosferatu. Nosferatu last. We saw the end of it. It took us a couple nights to get through it. So there is the aspect, and we go back to the Charlie Kirk thing and Charlie Freak thing, and the idea that there's some monstrous energies. Dr. Osborne has said they'll steal our life. The fraud is insane. While Americans like Michael, my ex, had a stroke, can't even get on disability. Politicians explain that. Yeah, it's pretty intense. It's pretty intense. This is a war against humanity. They're actively trying to kill us. These are demonic beings. These are parasites. These are people that they're not people. These are beings that feast on people. Like not Nosferatu, this movie we were watching. So Brussels and NATO and the European monarchy are thank you, Brenda, are kind of like this sinister force. Now, what I saw a post, maybe I can just bring it up right now, about if we were to leave NATO, they would collapse. They have no, I mean, why are all these troops in Germany? Why are we paying for Europe? Why are we paying for this climate change nonsense? It's all directed by this satanic force. And Susan Kokinda really gets to it, and she talks about the monarchy and that she's been tracing this. There was another post I was just looking at about the East India Company, that they basically took over the world a couple of hundred years ago. And I don't think anything has really changed. They are in control of much of the world. So this is a fight. We need to leave NATO. Yeah, absolutely. No, there's no question about it. NATO is a fantasy. This whole thing about it's Russia and China, that's just a distraction made up by these monarchy creepazoid parasites to keep us from seeing the real enemy, which is them, which is, as Susan Kokinda calls it, like the British Empire. I see it as the Satan, the Satan, the evil, pure evil that would vaccinate the world in the hopes that to kill off. That's what it said in the Georgia Guidestones. They wanted to destroy, I think it was like 90%. I forget the figure, but at least 4/5 of humanity they wanted to kill between the virus and the so-called illness. But by disease they were going to kill off and they may have. It may be that our ranks have been so cut down by the vaccine, and so many people were lost to and became a sort of a transhumanoid beings that just don't understand. I mean, I just don't. I'm going through this thing with my land, about, and I'm like, the lender is just I'm like, what gives? He's just totally unsympathetic. I mean, it's like you're it doesn't it upsets me more that there's a being in my life that is so insensitive than the actual situation, because I think the situation will work its way out. But this is the thing. We are dealing with Nosferatu, which thinks nothing about killing a few million people. Four-fifths of the population die between, and there's still, there's, but on the other hand, we are making strides forward. We are having victory after victory, and I don't think this East India company parasites that have been running the world expected a blowback like this between Anons putting out memes and waking people up and fighting and passing information that most people don't even they're too deeply buried in the situation. Some of them are waking up, but you can see how the deep state just shifts their forces, and they become uh, these Tucker Carlson, and they just shift their force to look like that we are getting information from people who are sympathetic to us, but they're actually misleading us in different ways. This is an all-out war against humanity. I saw a clip just recently, and I really liked the clip in a kind of a strange way, except that at the end he says it's all about Jesus Christ, and I'm just like, you lost me there, man. I mean, I don't, that's just not part of my core belief systems. But the guy was saying that it, I would almost like to play a bit of it, but he calls himself time traveler. Very interesting perspective on XRP. He had an XRP shirt on, and he said, everybody wants to know, when is XRP going to do what it should do? And his view was that the creepazoids will not allow it to happen until they are annihilated. Gary Gensler, the MIT crowd, this whole thing, and Bitcoin continuing to flourish, even though they say they know who Satoshi is and all this other stuff. And Epstein financing it, and all this criminal stuff, drug running from governments, that the drugs sell, that the governments, meaning the British Empire, as Susan Kokinda says, sells drugs, that they are the main drug pusher, either legal drugs through pharmaceuticals or illicit drugs. They do both. They just want to make money or kill us. And another post sort of stresses the thing is they don't really need the money because they can print more money. They just want to keep us so busy that we are enslaved, and they can pick off the weaker members of our ranks and eat them, or make adrenochrome out of them, or turn them into sex slaves, like in Nosferatu. Amazing times. But I don't, now in my case, I decided, well, Nassar Jassara is right around the corner. I'm going to stop paying my mortgage and it'll be okay. Or the Iraqi dinars are coming into play, or XRP will go to the moon. I'll be fine. Or my lawsuit against the Department of Education, New York City, for firing me illegally. I'll be able to pay off the last of my mortgage at this time. It just didn't work out. I'm just too early. Is it going to happen this month? I don't know. It doesn't look like it is. And this gentleman that calls himself time traveler said that they're not just going to give it up. They're not just going away. This is a war. As 107, it's Casino Royale. It's winner takes all. So we just have to hold on and at the same time live our dreams, however difficult that may be right now. Not be calculating that, well, does this really make sense? Can I make this move? XRP hasn't gone up yet. My silver's up, but is this the time to do it? I still have 2 years on my. I don't know. Zachary Fisher says that if you have these dreams, you should be living them. You shouldn't be waiting for the right time, which I think is an interesting perspective. And I don't want to wait. Listen, I have had the most incredible. I've had the most incredible couple of years, really, since I left Crown Heights and left the fold. I've been with I have a wonderful partner now. I didn't have that before, and we got to move out to our own land, and we love it here. It's just very stabilizing. Are there difficulties? Is this risky? Absolutely. I mean, we could lose it all. I don't see that happening. In a normal world, we would just say, listen, I'll if you give me a loan and pay this creep off, and I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back monthly. And if I don't pay you back, you can keep the 80 acres that I'll forfeit the 80 acres to you. You can keep that as collateral. Now, I can't make that deal because my credit rating isn't, or because we're not at that level where people can just say, listen, man, I have the money. You could pay me back. Just take 2 years, whatever it is. And if you fuck up, I'll take your land. I'll take 80 acres of your land. Doesn't seem like such a risky thing, but of course, the you can't just make a deal. That's what I'm saying. You can't make a deal man to man. You have to go through a real estate agent. You have to go through lawyers. You have to draw up these things. You have to make sure. It's not just like my word to me is worth more than anything I write, anything that I would sign on a contract. But that's the world that we're coming into. That's the world of the republic, of divine law, where it's like, okay, I said I do this and I'll do it. That's it. But now it has to be protected and backed up, and it's so complex and all that other nonsense from the parasites, from the Illuminati dudes, from these technocrats, from the bureaucrats, and the creeps that are running the world. But they are being disarmed piece by piece. Thanks so much, baby. Yeah, Brian Best. It's spiritualbeancoffee.com in Prescott, because there's another like knockoff company called Spiritual Bean, but his website is spiritualbeancoffee.com. Yeah, excuse me. We've been running fast. We came back. It was about 6 o'clock. We started a fire. We cooked we shared a small steak together, and we basically kind of fast all day. Daniela more than me, but it's you get a little edgy when you don't when you're not eating. It's a different kind of mindset. Remember the film Ants, when the grasshopper said, "You knew the outnumber." Right? Yeah, that's a great thing, Julie. That's a beautiful thought, that one ant rising up and taking off and starting a life on living off grid, let's say, or leaving their job and starting whatever, is no threat to them. But if we all start doing it, that's a huge threat. Actually, I think it's a threat even when one does it. I think these people are so keyed up and so controlled. That's what they're saying. In Brussels, they wouldn't permit Spain to roll back the price of the gasoline. They're saying you can't do that. We will kick you, we'll beat you up or whatever, whatever they're threatening. There's no sovereignty in Europe. Europe, it seems to be the heart of darkness, and they want to blame China and Russia and Ukraine, but it's really, well, Ukraine is part of Europe, but it really is Brussels, and it really is the European Union and the British monarchy. So I think Susan Kokinda is right on it, but the thing underneath that is the satanic force that I believe is Nosferatu, is these sons of Cain or something that eat humans and live off our flesh and trade our organs. I mean, there's a layer underneath the obvious, but it is becoming more obvious that it's, they want to say it's about the Chinese communists, it's about Russia, it's about Putin. It's not. Putin is coming out for XRP. The Japanese have come out for XRP. All the countries are, except the Congress or the movie. In the movie that we're watching, XRP is not permitted to succeed. However, they can't stop it. They can't stop it because there's going to be a complete transformation of the economy onto rails that we can see. It's not going to be they can print up money in some back room and who knows where, and flood the system with cash and use it for their international monetary fund. We'll just pay ourselves. We'll pay the big corporations if there's a problem. Or this whole theft system is being exposed and destroyed. So the really behind the scenes, it's not so much about the Strait of Hormuz, other than it's about the economy. It's about the oil prices, the gold prices. The stock market went up 1,000 points today, and it did yesterday too. How does that make sense? It doesn't. However, behind the scenes, you see that the stock exchanges are now listing crypto as part of their assets. Coinbase is now, you can trade stocks on Coinbase. And another thing that's a very minor blip, but it could be a really major thing. We're talking about the X money system. And we've been reading about this mobile phone service called US, what is it, US phone or US something? It's advertised on X, where you can have cell phone service for $50 a month. That is, and you're directly connected to Starlink. That is a big deal. That is, I pay ridiculous amounts of money to T-Mobile every month to give me service, and they occasionally rip me off and with bad deals and all these like hidden things, but that's the innovation. That's the sign that there is victory going on here. We haven't really checked into this company, but it sounds ideal. Why wouldn't you want to be connected to Starlink? Why would you want to be connected to the underground sea cables, the old internet that is polluted and disgusting, and part of this kill the humans struggle? Am I being overly dramatic about the kill the humans part? Not at all. That's an understatement. They are, for sure, they do not, it's like this lender I'm dealing with. He does not care. He does not care that, it's just business. That is insane. That is sick, psychopathic conduct. And everyone's looking out for themselves, and that's fine. I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm a little early to the game. I'm not saying, I'm morally superior or anything like that. It's just that, like, I want to be in the republic where people make deals based on mutual understanding and mutual cooperation, and they don't need to sign 10,000 documents. And if you violate one of their agreements, you would work it out man to man. That doesn't exist now. But it will exist soon. I have no doubt in my mind that we are coming into the promised land. However, the deep state, Brussels backed monarchy, reptilian elites are not giving it up easily. They're going down kicking and screaming and trying to con us to the end. Bitcoin's still going up. I mean, how could that be? Everybody knows it's attached to Epstein. Everybody knows it's attached to child trafficking. They don't care because it's profitable. That makes no sense to me. I will not invest in a company that I don't agree with what they're doing. Well, people don't care. They're like, we can make money. Eventually, we are going to end up in the new world, and things will make sense. Morality will have a value. People who understand, who are humane and caring, will be valued over people who are vicious and self-serving. They want to kill a 500,000 of us per the New World Order. Yeah, no, they want to kill a lot more than that. They want to eradicate. They want 500. I think 500 million to be left from the 8 billion. They want. That's in the Georgia Guidestones. They said that would be in balance with nature. 500 million people left that out of 800 billion. 800 no 8 billion. I'm sorry, 8 billion. 500 million. I think it's roughly, I have to do the math, but I'm debilitated because I was a math teacher for so many years. I can't function in that way the way I used to. When I was a kid, I really understood numbers. I really enjoyed counting and doubling things and playing with the thoughts of numbers. I enjoy gematria a bit when I was religious. But now it's useless. Georgia Guidestone says only 500 million inhabitants. Yeah, it could be. Right. That's what I said, 500 million. But that's of 8 billion. So why don't you guys, somebody figure out what percentage that is of humanity they want left? Right, 500 million. No, you're saying 500,000. No, 500 million. Yeah, 500 million. That's what I read. 500 million people left. That's not and it could be that that's how many people will have their DNA intact. According to Q, there's a war for our DNA. It could be that there will only be 500 million humans left on the planet. That could be the case right now. I don't know. All the people that have been vaccinated, are they all transhumans now? According to some people, they are. I don't know. But these are things that we must take into account. Now, I'm a little bit ahead of time. I'm just a little bit airy-fairy, and I'm just like, listen, man, mortgages are not going to be legal, so I stopped paying my mortgage. And now I have to figure out a solution to the difficulty. But I don't think this was a mistake. I think it was me testing the waters, and I'm now forced to deal with the situation in a different way than I would have in the past. But no one's given me any slack, man. I mean, I didn't get vaccinated. I lost my job. I lost my YouTube channel. I'm just saying that these were not fair things that were done in a fair, logical way. But however, you're talking about people that are sick, and my situation is nothing compared to what's really going on in the world. People are dying. I go to the supermarket, everyone is I mean, I live in a community of older people, probably mostly a lot of retired military live in Kingman, but Everyone's got a cane, man. Everyone's limping. Everyone. Or they're overweight, or they're, I mean, there are, you don't see a lot of like really in my town, we don't see a lot of like sort of, handsome, successful type looking type people. I mean, for me, they're successful because they're like salt of the earth, and they all got their trucks, and I love these people. They're very down to earth. They're no, it's not a like a statusy kind of town, but they're sick. They're hurting. You don't see, that's what I'm saying. I don't see a lot of really, I do in Vegas, we do in Phoenix to some extent. We see people that are, more, they look more prosperous and vi vigorous. I don't know. I don't know if that's a fair evaluation. I will say this, that Danielle and I went to they have what would you call it? Like an RV, come see the RVs. You could, they had like 100 RVs of all different makes and kinds. And we went to look at them, and the designs were nice, but it wasn't, I don't know. I don't know what I expected, but I expected like new designs, new um, concepts, new ideas about space. Like my house is working on issues of space and light, and how do you deal with the four directions. And the southern aspect of my house is very different from right now from the northern aspect. And it's, for me, it's a delicious a chance to explore space and architecture. But it doesn't seem like that's carrying over to some extent, at least not in that market, I guess.
Copper pipes.
They did have one kind of RV that had copper pipes on the inside, and they had some exciting innovations in terms of energy. They were using solar panel, but combining it in some way to get heat out of the solar. I forget what they were using. Was it heat or something? They were using it, the solar panel, in a new way, which I think is wonderful. And copper pipes. Daniela was like, copper pipes, man. So, I told, we're going to have copper pipes here. It's just, we just we have some money issues. But when things start going our way, and I still believe they will, we will invest in copper pipes. I mean, why not? Thank you for allowing me to drink my coffee. We're a little behind, like I said. Uh, Mort means right, dead. Yeah, a mortgage. I thought the mortgages would be done by now. I stopped paying my mortgage like a year ago, and nothing has really changed in that way. And also XRP. I saw this thing from Time Traveler. He says, everyone wants to know, when is XRP going to go? XRP is already going. It's being used by all the banks. All the big banks are using XRP. When is the price going to change? Well, it's being held up by people who can print cash. Are they being broken? Are they being defeated on every level? I believe so. I believe that Trump and the White Hats have them on the ropes, and they are having to deal with these issues. Okay, so let me go. Let me just show you a couple of these things that really impressed me. Well, before I do, let me just read a couple more comments. 6.25%. But it's not 800 billion. It's 8 billion, right? 8 billion. And then I think it comes, it could be, but it's figure 8 billion. This is a math problem, right? So 8 billion, that would be, I think correct me if I'm wrong. I think that would be 9 zeros over under 8 with 9 zeros, correct, is a billion. Like I said, and then 5 million, 5 million above it. Let's see, 5 million. I'm sorry, 500 million. 500 million versus 8 billion, right? Oh, I guess you would say, you're saying that would be 800 million. How long they just pay the interest. That's what I did. They said just pay the interest. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lender like that. My lender is like, he wants to come and, he wants to put me out on the street. It's 6.25, 8 billion, sorry. 6.25%, roughly 5% of humanity, would survive, 5%. That means they would kill off 95% or 94% of humanity. 94%, not a number. That's most people. A lot of people on the X thing are saying that there are not that many humans left. They're just that there are a lot of NCPs, a lot of other things. But anyway, yeah, mortgage means dead, right? And gauge means wage, all for, yeah, it's all for. I stopped paying for energy people. They're not suppliers, they're credit brokers, right? You pay tax. Yeah, I stopped paying. Wasn't paying my electric bill when I lived in New York City. I had a loan, just pay the interest. Yeah, I just, it's well over 90%. That's the key thing here. And if we talked about how many people left Egypt, it was 80%. 80% left Egypt. I mean, I'm sorry, 20% left Egypt. 80% decided to die in the plague of darkness. They were like, I'm not leaving normalcy. I'm not leaving the matrix. Q says, and this is, I spoke of this last night, and it really, I can't really wrap my mind around it, but Q says the end is not for everyone. For us to survive this is a challenge, but it's our challenge, and this is what we do, and we are completely intending to succeed in surviving and thriving and living our dreams and making it into the matrix and watching Jassara get rolled out. Is it going to happen on July 4th? Are they going to announce the elections? I don't know. I don't know. I hope so. But what if they don't? Are we prepared? Those of us who are listening to my voice right now, are we prepared to make it another year? Yeah. Hell yeah. No question about it. We've made it this far. We made it 5 years. We've been waiting for D5 for 5 years together. We're rubbing our backs in the freezer. You know that story I always tell about the two guys in the Holocaust, the young guy and the old guy. And the old guy said, "Could you rub my back?" They stuck him in a freezer to kill them. And the young guy kept rubbing the old guy's back all night to keep him from freezing, and they survived. In the morning, everybody else was dead, but they, by help. So I think of this channel as we are sitting here rubbing each other's backs while they're trying to kill us. They're putting, you can read all this black pilling and you can go crazy with it, with them putting the mRNA and shooting up farmed fish, and meat, and McDonald's with human, all this stuff. It's disgusting. But we are conscious. We are becoming more conscious. In fact, this difficulty is strengthening us, if able to always pay down the principal. Yeah, of course. But I just wasn't able to pay it anymore. I ran out of silver and I stopped being able to pay it. Of course, all these things, of course, This is like they're saying, some rabbi was on there. I saw this rabbi actually. I think this rabbi was saying, never pay off your total mortgage. That's what my father used to say. You don't want to pay off your whole mortgage. I'm like, fair. I do want to pay off my mortgage. I don't want to have anything to do with these creeps. Um, does it make sense? Does it make economic sense? I don't give it. I don't care. It doesn't have to make sense to me for me to do something. But I mean, it does have to make sense to me. It's like I said with investments. I'm not going to invest in, like I saw somebody recommended something about nuclear fission, a company that does fission. I'm not going to invest in that. I'm not going to invest in nuclear fission. I don't believe in it. I don't want to perpetrate that. That's fusion has more possibilities. DJT, the DJT stock, is interested in nuclear fusion, which is what, according to science, if you can't really trust them anymore, is what happens in the sun. Who the hell not really knows? Okay, so let's. The rest of the world is ready, but USA isn't. Yes, I think that's true. Trump refuses to let everyone know what is actually going on. Yeah, I don't know if it's a Trump refusing. I think the people are just not. They're not as. Americans are a little more coddled. We've said that the Americans are really dealing with a different level of consciousness. Europeans, the Irish, the Nepalese, they just took their government, threw them in the river. I mean, there are Americans are very they according to some source I read a while ago, that we've been more coddled by the matrix than any other country. So it's unimaginable to a European person. They're just like, the government is fucked. But to Americans, they're like, I don't know, it's like they're just, it's a different mindset over here, in my opinion, seems to me. But I don't think it's because I think it's because Trump is really trying to wake people up in a way that they'll be able to understand. You just can't wake people up by throwing ice cold water in their face. I listen, I trust the plan. I trust what Trump is doing. First of all, I don't think it's really Donald J. Trump anyway. I mean, this is all a movie, but I trust the White Hats. We have to trust the White Hats. What else is there? The mainstream, I'm just thinking of I keep forgetting his name, but these newscasters, they're pretending to be like Trumpsters, and they're really working for the enemy. They're getting paid by the creeps. Tucker Carlson, those kind of people. Alex Jones. Okay, so let's loose lips sink ships. Yeah, true. I've heard them admitting to discovering and developing cold fusion. Right. Yeah, and it's a very interesting technology. I was made aware of NESARA and the Q movement since May of 1990. Oh my gosh, have you suffered? It's the end of them, not us. Yeah, exactly, Julie. That's why we woke up, and they said us waking up is their biggest fear. Absolutely. But they're not dead yet. That's why why is XRP not going to the moon? It's because the creepazoids are holding on for dear life. And they can print as much cash as they want, or they have as much cash reserves as they want. So they could keep selling and selling and selling until it sort of flatlines it. Hi, Andrew D. Smith. You can lead a horse to a trough, but damn near to drown and take a drink. That's how some people are. If you watch the movie They Live, and it's a beautiful movie. The most painful part of that movie, They Live, is the main character has to convince his friend that they live, or his friend to just put on the glasses. His friend, they get into a fight that I couldn't watch. It was so violent. But this is how hard people are going to fight for their reality, for the Matrix. That's what they say in the Matrix movie. Until they come into onto our side, they are the enemy. It's not just that you can't get them to drink. They will fight you. They don't want to give it up, and you can understand. I mean, you can kind of be. I mean, it's kind of understandable that we lost it. We do not have the ability to go back to the Matrix. We're out there. We're too far gone. We can't go back. I can't go. They had a reinstatement, some kind of fake thing about like you could to get your teaching job back if you fill out this form. Well, it's like I can't go back to that. Are you kidding me? I mean, it was hard enough when I was still thinking that the Matrix was real, but now going back to a job like that, or even going back to my community, my Jewish community, I would love to go back. Danielle would love to go back. We'd love to have go back to into the Jewish community, but it's just not an option because we know too much, and we can't just suspend disbelief anymore. Before I joined the ranks of the Orthodox, called the Orthodox, I was convinced that they knew something that the rest of the world didn't know, and they were really on a high level. And they were, in terms of Hasidus, the study of Hasidus, which is Jewish mysticism. It's it's top of the line. It's exquisitely beautiful thing to learn. You're learning about the mechanisms of holiness. It's stunning. But then the vaccine came along, and everyone was like, "Yeah, you got to get vaccine." They're like, "You lost your job because you wouldn't get vaccinated. What's wrong with you? Just get vaccinated. Let God take care of you." I'm like, "I'm sorry, man. I'm not doing it. I know too much." So neighbor brings me food. She's sweet, but she won't wake up. Yeah, I know. I know. Don't even try. I mean, my mom. I love my mom. My mom is like, but talk, if I say the word Trump in front of her, she goes into a tirade. I don't, so I don't even go, I don't, Mom, let's not talk about it because we could have a really nice conversation. We could be talking about how much we love each other. And then if I say something about politics, it's over. My brother-in-law is a prepper, very hardcore, on the right of things. He's somewhat, he's somewhat militant in his own way, but he and my mom, they just they just can't be in the same room together. That's how people see things as, this is that kind of person, and I can't be with that kind of person. Yeah, so it's weird. Yeah, the fight scene is long, right? It depicts how long it takes to wake people up, right? That is exactly right, Julie, and that's the most painful part of the movie. Is here? This has total clarity. They live. He sees it in the billboards. We see it. When I went to the RV thing today, I was like, this is people's concept of freedom. This is just like, these are just like little disgusting little houses, just like they're knockoff. They're just smaller versions of your house, but it's the same couch, the same recliner. I'm like, we in this ship, in our little RV, we ripped all the furniture out. We're like, I don't want a little table. I don't want a little couch. We just ripped it out right away. We have space. We have open space here. It's we I don't know. We're making strides on the home now that I have I have laid out most of the second floor on the back of the house. The second floor is mostly has wood on it as a floor, so we're pretty close. That's why it's agonizing to have to deal with the possibility. I mean, the place is going to be up for auction in a couple of weeks. So I have to, I just have to like relax into it and do my best and allow the process to figure out what's to do. But if it was a normal world, I'd just be like, hey man, I'll if you could front me the money, I got you. I'll give you half my land. If I screw up, you could just take my land. That would be like in a normal world, that would be just like, okay, you know, fine. But contracts and the disagreements, we don't trust each other. I think in the Republic, I think when people are I don't see people as being inherently evil. I think people are inherently good. And when we get to a point where we know who's an NCP and who's a human, and we can clearly see it, we won't have these kinds of issues. I get chocolate nibs in my coffee. What's the program Ming hate DJ TJ hissy fits? I'm not sure. Ming that cause my people die from lack of knowledge. It says in the Bible. Yeah, yeah. It's people are stubborn. Is it that they can't? It could be that they just can't. My son, my son grew up with me listening to the X-22 report, being like, oh, he was like, listen to this, he's just like, Tati, could you turn it down? He just, he's like, he just does, I don't know, he's a smart guy, but it's not his soul doesn't resonate on that around that kind of thing. So what can you do, right? NPCs are the left, all conformists. Yeah. Yeah, it's the ego. I guess so. I mean, it's easy to pin stuff on them, but the fact of the matter is that we need to protect what we have. That's what Q says. You got to protect your DNA. Don't be eating, food from the grocery store. They shoot everything up, or they worship. How? Okay, so let me go through this thought stream just a bit. Yeah, okay. Wait, I have to let me just do it here. I have to go back. Okay, wait. Oh, okay, let's do this. Let's just get some of the things that I bookmarked. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to show you some of the things that I've been kind of referring to. Okay. Let's go to here, and let's go to here, and then I'll come back and get the comments. But this is the article that I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna go back. Hold a second. Because I want everyone to see this whole thing, because I think it's very important. And it came from Sirius B, and Sirius B is somebody that I really pay attention to his posts. Let's go to the show more. Okay, here we go. All right, now I can share it. Okay, so here we go. This is from Sirius B. Let's go to here so I can make it a little bigger. I'm going to just, I won't be able to read the comments for a few moments, but allow me to just read this. Okay, at its thundering peak in the mid 1600s, the Dutch East India Company, the VOC, was the most powerful organization ever assembled by human hands. Before or since, valued at the equivalent of 7.9 trillion USD in today's money. It makes every modern corporation look like a corner shop. It put 50,000 men to work in its counting houses and trading posts, backed by a private army of 40,000 soldiers and a war fleet of over 150 armed warships at a time when most sovereign nations couldn't scrape together 20. Over 2 centuries, it launched 4,785 ships into some of the most lethal seas on Earth and moved over 1 million souls to Asia, more than every other European nation combined. It held an iron monopoly on spice, silk, opium, porcelain, and tea across the entire Indian Ocean basin. It minted its own coins, ran its own courts, hanged its own criminals, signed treaties with emperors, and declared war on kingdoms. It built Cape Town as a resupply depot. It ran Nagasaki as a trading cage. It broke the back of Portuguese sea power, strangled the English competition, and starved out anyone who got in their way. The Mughal Empire, richer than all of Europe at the time, eventually bent the knee to Dutch merchant pressure. Cardinals came along with letters. Kings came with requests. The VOC came with cannons and settled the argument that way. So I find this interesting because it sounds like the beginning of this cabal. It sounds like this is where they became Vatican and all that, 1600s. And this could be a possible time when Tartaria was, I don't know, but I think it's an interesting detail. This is a fascinating post. I want to play this because it'll just warm your heart. Okay, so this kid it was in a zoo and got dumped into the gorilla cage, and this gorilla picks up the kid. I mean, this is unbelievable. Walks up and hands him to the people. Eh, is that unbelievable? I think so. We just don't know. We don't know anything about our world. We don't know about the animals. We don't know about science. Everything's been faked. Everything. So we have to discover everything. So X Finance Bull. Good morning, XRP family. They manipulate the market, but they can't change what XRP was built for. XRP is one of the biggest modern technologies built for global finance. That's why I hold it with patience and conviction. Hold your XRP, but they are fighting nobody is telling you how effed the NATO situation actually is right now. Nobody's talking about what happens when 838 trillion, or is it trillion or billion, I guess, in defense spending walks out the door. I'm not sure about it. I don't know. Here's what nobody is telling you. The US provides all strategic airlift for NATO. Europe cannot, and they're basically saying Europe cannot exist without NATO. But this is theft. This is U.S. taxpayer theft, and so they're going to be rooting these people out at the base, at the foundation level. This is a war to the death. This is Casino Royale, as 107 says. They have to be completely destroyed before they will allow XRP to go to the moon. It won't. That's what they're kind of this one thing that I saw. Big oil is ripping us off. The straits are open and Washington is in on it. So this is part of the movie, in my opinion. A big day for world peace. The Strait of Hormuz. A hermetic portal is clearing, truth and life force circulation are being restored. A strait is the narrow birth canal where compressed old energies must pass or be destroyed. Okay, I assume that's the next word. We are birthing the republic and the new world, the great awakening. So the United States will be helping. So this is the flashpoint right now. People always wonder this. The voice in the head, it's not random, it's not truth, it's a system. Your brain is constantly running simulations. Not occasionally, not only when you notice it, but constantly. It's asking over and over what might happen next. Okay, that's a that's an interesting feed. You can come to my channel if you want to read the whole thing. Now this is how I started this section, this video this evening. EU blocks cheaper fuel in Spain. Spain tried to slash fuel VAT from 21% to 10% to ease the crisis. Brussels said no. EU rules forbid it. Fines could follow. You don't control prices, Brussels does. Sovereignty gone. The EU is a dictatorship, like the Dutch East India Company. This is this is about that company that it's called US Mobile. A small startup just declared war on America's most powerful telecom companies, and nobody's talking about it. We're talking about it, Danielle and I. For decades, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile have had an iron grip on how Americans connect to the world. They built the towers, they set the prices, but it's over because US Mobile connects to Starlink. This is, in my opinion, the beginning of a tremendous reversal on a third dimensional level. They're taking this kind of thing is going to be changing the world forever, in my opinion. Starlink. It's like Twitter X. This is a great post. I'm not going to read the whole thing again, but live your daydream. Most people are waiting for life to change before they start living, waiting for the money, the timing, the certainty, the sign. But what if the life you keep imagining isn't something that shows up one day? What if it's something you that you have to start creating? I mean, this Zachary Fisher is comes out with brilliant posts just day after day, but he's saying you have to live your dream. You can't wait for this signal. And that's why, even though I'm in trouble right now, it's like I wouldn't have done it any differently. It was an impossibility from the get-go for me to buy this land with no resources, for me to live here, for everything that went down up here was a miracle. So would I not expect more miracles? I do. I'm sure everything will be resolved and it'll be just fine. But does okay, so let's look at the other way. What if I said, okay, let me just go a little more farther, then I'll go back to this point. What's really going to blow up your minds is when Tucker, Candace, MTG, Alex Jones, Emerald Robinson, and Megan are all saying the exact same thing the same day at the same time. Barack Obama, Hillary, Chuck Schumer, and Jasmine Crockett. That's when people will wake up. Are you following the stars? Well, my goodness, there's your problem right there. Maybe stop doing that. These people are not on our side. This is from the debt clock. They thought that they could steal America. Yeah. These influencers knowingly lied to your faces about President Trump and America. Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, and the rest. The precipice isn't the end. It's where you decide who you really are. That's good. The New World Order is dead. Trump's peace plan. Hack the Matrix. Trust the plan. President Trump drops major hints in speech. Classified payments, foreign accounts, cash, spook files, hotels, blackmail. President Trump repeatedly said, I have a plan, and trust the plan. He reminded us, you cannot possibly imagine the size, and this is the key point. We cannot imagine the size. We're watching the speech. We're watching it, knows the plan. The plan is, but it's very unfair to say, because I don't mind being insulted for many years by the fake news. Fake news always comes up. Trust the plan. Classified cash, spook files, hotels, blackmail. Check this out. We're going to find out more context with this, where he talked about the plan. Okay, so yeah, talk the plan. We're waiting for the moment. You're becoming it, right? Good insight. We become the moment we are waiting for. Oh, that's me saying that. That if you are thinking about waiting to fulfill your dream till the right time, you may be perpetrating against yourself the permanence of waiting, that you'll be waiting for eternity. Whereas Zachariah Fisher says, stop waiting for the date. That's not how this works. All jokes aside, there is no crystal ball showing us how we win. And I think deep down, a lot of people are starting to feel that. They're waiting for a moment. You're becoming it. That's the essence, and that's what I've been saying for years. But he says it in a really nice way. To every single American who keeps saying, by law, they were required, by law, by law. By law, they were supposed to, by law, they broke the law, law. The law doesn't fucking exist, okay? It doesn't exist. This is a criminal enterprise. They can't print money, so why tax you? Because it's not about your money, it's about your time. Tax is slavery. They're putting vaccines in the food now. Okay, that's go there. But yes, data centers are essential infrastructures for central bank digital currencies, but they're being chased out of town. It's not a done deal in any way. We have to just keep doing our job and keep rising up and keep dreaming. Okay, let me go back. I'm just going to spend like a few minutes looking at the most recent post from the general thought stream. Let's just look at this for a moment. Okay, no, I can't. Okay, hold it. I can't do it that way. Let me do it like this. Okay, show the most recent. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, so let me go back here. Let's share this. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go up a bit, and then I'm probably going to end soon. But there are many dedicated people in government who could leave tomorrow and earn tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a month as so-called influencers on social media, but they choose to serve the American people instead. All the while, so-called influencers talk shit all day long and get paid big money for clicks and impressions. We see you. Okay, well that's not my case. I don't make any money from broadcasting, but these guys, these big timers do. The situation is really not that difficult. Trump is actually a good president who actually knows what he's doing, and both he and the U.S. military are dismantling, obliterating a transnational criminal organization known as the Deep State. Everything else is just noise. I totally agree with that. Let's just read that one more time. That's really all you need to know. The situation is not really that difficult. Trump is actually a great president who actually knows what he's doing. And both he and the U.S. military are dismantling, obliterating a transnational criminal organization known as the Deep State. Everything else is just noise. That's it. That's all we need to say. That says it all. Okay. Let me just see your posts. Data centers have about the same effects as a wind farm, right? Using up too many resources. I can't even tell anyone how much I hate the medical profession. I know, Nancy, it is just, they are despicable criminals. And it's, I mean, I've had a sort of a love-hate relationship with the medical community for many years before this. Some things they did to me when I had a car accident, and they did some things to me that were just unconscionable. But you better time to start living than right. No better time to start living than right now. Absolutely. Mega MAGA is the only way out. Yeah, I think so. But also knowing Q and knowing what's going on. I think Q is a little bit beyond the MAGA movement. I can't even tell how much I hate, yeah, the medical, yeah, data centers have been about the same effect as a wind farm, right? Just another reminder, collective. Hey, Wade, I've been repeatedly reminded how nothing is as it seems. Yeah, that's it. Nothing is as it seems. So, I think we're like rubbing each other's backs in the freezer to keep ourselves alive here. It's going to be good. I think everything is going good. I'm just going to remind everyone that Dr. Stacy is having a um, a special just for members of our community. So if you call Dr. Stacy, I'll put up the information. If you call or text or email Dr. Stacy, systematic repair throughout the body, GHK declines with age, but X39 triggers systematic repair throughout the body. It's an amazing patch. It's an amazing technology. So this is for brand partners only. But if you're a brand partner, if you're into LifeWave, call Dr. Stacy. You can buy two and get one free now. So that's a tremendous opportunity, tremendous savings. You might want to just check in with her anyway. We do the patches, man. This is our thing. Danielle's got them all over the place, man. We go to town, and I'm like, Danielle, she's the patch lady, but that's what she wants. I don't listen. I don't care. Okay, so yeah, so that's it. So we really appreciate your support with the patches. The X2O water machine, water filter that takes out all microplastics and infuses light into the water. You're only really supposed to drink 1 cup a day, but you could drink more. But it gives you apparently tremendous energy, and there's 100% people feel, they drink this water and they feel it 100%. Everybody feels it and it has a measurable effect on the body for everyone. So it's 5,400 if you want to. I think tomorrow it goes on. It goes live. So if you want to get one of these water machines, we want to get one very much. You can pay it off with PayPal. I don't have PayPal, but you could, maybe Daniela could do it. But it's definitely something to check out, because I know David Schmidt is the inventor. I know of him. He is amazing, and if he spent years, something like 7 years, developing this machine that infuses light into the water molecule. So you drink it and you feel the light. Amazing machine. So you may want to check. I think today, isn't today the launch day?
No, tomorrow's Thursday.
Tomorrow, right?
Yeah, not
Yeah,
today.
tomorrow. I'm sorry. Tomorrow is the launch day. So you could get one of these machines tomorrow. You can call Dr. Stacy, get on PayPal, whatever, and get one of
No,
the.
only the downlines can.
Oh, only the downline? What, the machine, you mean?
Yeah.
I thought that was the special.
No, she said it's not available to everyone.
It's not available to everyone, but it's available to our downline. So if you want it, if you want to get it, just say you're part of our community, and you'll be able to order it. Spiritual growth, right? Use natural cures, people, if you get headaches, migraine, cayenne pepper. Yeah, absolutely. You should come tomorrow, Friday morning at 10:30. That would be
1:30.
no, it's not
That'll
3
be
hours. It's
1:30.
2 hours.
Three.
It's 2 hours.
Three.
3 hours to New York?
Yes.
Okay, so it would be 1:30 on Friday. We have a lifestyle broadcast with my friend Norman, and we talk about all kinds of cures. So if you want to talk about different medicines and share with the community, we do that. We're doing it this week, Friday morning at 1:30 Eastern time. We usually do it Thursday afternoon after I do a broadcast with people of the Republic, friends from the Republic. And again, please join the Republic. That's a big thing for us. Let's see. Join. Go to the website. Join up. We need people. That's going to bring the Great Awakening. Okay, so there's the life wave. I can take that off. It's just republicforusa.org. There's like a little hash marks up in the left-hand corner. You press that. You give them your name. Volunteer to help be the interim government when they announce Jassara and Nassara. We'll have 120 days, and you'll be part of the interim government until the elections are held. You'll be helping with the elections in some way, or just being there. Allows the military to go ahead and do their job. So that's really important. Yeah, and Brian, right? And let me just share while I'm thinking of these things. So let's stop sharing this. Let's share Brian. Brian's here. I just want to share. Let's see. Yeah. I want to share Brian's website, spiritualbeancoffee.com. It's in Prescott, Arizona, small batch roaster, always organic. All his beans are organic. He roasts them himself. He's a tremendous guy. If you have a chance, go to his coffee shop in Prescott called Spiritual Bean Coffee as well. And I assume that's 608 1/2 Miller Valley Road, Prescott, Arizona. You can go by there and enjoy a great cup of coffee. You can eat some of Corinne's amazing food and just hang out with Brian. His people, friends of our community are driving up from Phoenix just to spend time with Brian. He's one of my favorites. I mean, you don't get any better than Brian. All right, so let's go to you shared the podcast. Thank you. Coffee. Yeah. Yeah. I'm drinking some now. So it's definitely worth the treat. And I'm going to, in honor of Brian, I guess Brian's here. Brian, I want some here. Yeah. In honor of Brian is starting a new coffee called New Morning. So I think it kind of fits the mood that we're in today. I'm a little bit down because I'm dealing with with my mortgage situation, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. I just sometimes it's just like the beauty of being here and the beauty of getting to build my own house is offset by the challenges, and that's just the way it is. When you want to live your dream, it's not a walk, necessarily a walk in the park, all right, but it's the right thing to do. So let's see, stop sharing. And yeah, so Brian's going to be starting a new brand, a new flavor of his incredible. He has some great flavors, Wyatt Earp, and just great stuff. But he's going to start a new batch called New Morning. So let's play the tune in honor of Brian. Yep.
Sunday at dawn, the night was hotter than hell and forever long. I can see the first light breaking through the trees. I feel the changes in the cool breeze of freedom. It's a new morning. never saw it coming, hiding in plain sight. Banksters taking power, stealing our lives. They were looking to bury us in debt, shame and fear. But our roots grew stronger as we reached into the air with freedom. Freedom. And it's a new morning. It's a new morning. With each day we're rising up in this world with the power of love, with the power of peace, the power of joy, the power of truth, and the power of freedom. And it's a new morning. It's a new morning. It's a new morning. It's a new morning.
It's a new morning. Yeah, absolutely. It's a new day. I mean, listen, we're going through stuff. I wish XRP would go to the moon today. It's just, they just got to clear out the creeps. They got to get this Nosferatu crowd out of, they got to drive a stake through their hearts and get rid of them. They can't be salvaged. Brian said, he brought a point that I kind of missed, but that Charlie Freak said, the children of these giants, of these Nephilim, those who fell, these demonic angels, they're just as bad as the parents, and they cannot be dealt with. So yeah, thank you, Kathy. Yeah, I was gonna say the mandolin player. She also played mandolin and violin on this on my song. Just so tasteful, just so it's it's such a nice. My friend Sean produced the whole thing, and it helped me with the writing. Uh, just so tasteful. I love it. On the what was it on the first song I did with him, which was um, uh, "Language of the Heart." He got a dobro player. Dobro's like a steel guitar, electric, not electric, but it's a acoustic slide guitar, really cool sounding. And of course, in the last piece that I did, the Matrix, leaving the Matrix, he got some great guitar licks, some great guitar playing and drumming, and he does a great job. But anyway, I'm still sitting on my fourth song. I just have to get a little bit more ahead of things, and we're spending a lot of time on the house and that kind of thing, and eventually I'll get around to the last piece is going to be called The Great Awakening. So anyway, have a great night. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for supporting yourself. May the force be with you. May you use the force. May you realize that you are the force. May source be with you. May you realize that you're the source of creation, that you create a whole world depending on your thoughts and how you use them, and structure your life and live your dreams. And this is a time, it's not a time to be of despair. It's a time of opportunity. It's taking the challenges and bringing them into the light. So let's get out there with a big smile on our face and rock the world.